After Anatoly adopted the boy, who was named Alex and was a bright and curious child, he felt that it was the right step. Inside him arose a desire to help more children, to provide them with care and support, just as he did for his first adopted child. At times, he felt intense and overwhelming pain and sadness due to the loss of his beloved. To cope with these feelings, Anatoly vented his frustrations and expressed his emotions, after which he felt a sense of relief. As Anatoly and his adopted son adapted to their new family life, they faced ongoing issues and challenges with electricity in their townhouse. Frequent power outages became an unpleasant source of inconvenience. Anatoly decided that building his own house would be the best solution. Anatoly, deciding not to waste time on restless sleep, got up early in the morning after the move. The nightmares tormented him still swirled in his mind, but the fresh air and morning atmosphere helped him calm down. Deciding not to dwell on the negative, he chose to lift the spirits of himself and Matvey by organizing a real gastronomic celebration in the street. He prepared the grill and started roasting chicken. The atmosphere was simply magical. The coolness of the morning, the scent of freshness and charcoal smoke, and of course the appetizing aroma of roasted poultry. Anatoly enjoyed the process of cooking, expressing his love for culinary arts and relishing the opportunity to share this pleasure with Matvey. Matvey, as usual, took care of his loyal dog. From early morning, he took him for a walk, played with him outside, and gave him attention filled with care and love. Then he headed to school to continue his education. While Matvey was at school, Anatoly went to the orphanage. His heart was full of the desire to help children, and he decided to adopt another girl. But this was just the beginning. Anatoly brought home many more children. He not only welcomed these children into his home, but also dedicated his time to care for them. He also decided to update their wardrobe so that the children would feel comfortable and confident. Anatoly sought to give them everything the best he could, and his home became a true refuge for these children, truly filled with love, care, and hope. After buying new clothes, the kids decided to spend a bit of time outdoors and get to know each other better. They chose to play in the snow, which was not only fun but also encouraged closer communication. The fun snow fights helped them express their personalities and created a friendly excuse. After the snowball fight, Anatoly prepared delicious burgers for the children. Then they gathered in the cozy atmosphere of their home and enjoyed a pleasant evening filled with aromas, fresh food, and heartfelt conversations. This family dinner was another step towards the children feeling like part of this caring family and getting to know each other even better. As Oleg spent more time with Dasha, he began to realize that he didn't actually have as strong feelings for Yosa as he did for Dasha. These thoughts would not leave him alone, and he felt that he could not ignore his true feelings. Indeed, that he even decides to send Dasha a few messages, in which he inquires about her affairs and simply shares interesting stories from his life. On the other hand, Dasha also dreams of Oleg returning to her and happily responds to his messages. A spark of hope flickering ignited in her eyes, that something more profound and more meaningful could be rekindled between them. Since Daria and Oleg now lived next door, their meetings didn't take long to happen. One morning, when Daria was preparing breakfast outside, Oleg approached to chat. However, he felt a bit embarrassed, and the conversation between them didn't flow as they both seemed to want. It was strange, considering that they both seemed to have mutual feelings for each other and wanted to be together. But due to their different temperaments, it was not easy for them to find common ground. Nevertheless, Daria turned out to be a wonderful mother. She visited her son every day, showed interest in his affairs, helped him with his studies, and gave him advice. This helped her feel like a complete mother and supported a close relationship with her son. Every day, Anatoly learned more about his adopted children. Matvey loved to create various crafts with his own hands. Alexandra was passionate about computer games. Vadim preferred football, although he played it. Fedo, on the other hand, loved the art of drawing. They had their own interests and talents. Anatoly tried to support these interests and help the children develop in what they enjoy doing. Anatoly took special care of the youngest girl. It was still too early for her to show her talents and interests, so he decided to become her teacher himself. He patiently taught her various things and told her about everything that could interest the little girl. He hoped that over time it would become clear what her true passions were, and he would be able to help her develop in that direction. The children also found time for joint activities. For example, they enjoyed playing basketball together. This is not only a way to develop physical activity, but also a wonderful way to strengthen relationships, foster team spirit, and learn to work together towards a common goal. It was starting to get dark, and the children, having played in the yard, were heading to bed one by one. However, not everything was smooth. Little Tatiana, feeling confused, made a mess in the bathroom and, frightened, started to cry. Anatoly heard her sobbing and, despite his fatigue, got up to find out what had happened. Calmly comforting her, he gently put the girl to bed, making sure she would no longer be afraid, and then returned to sleep. Knowing that his small family was safe and at peace, everything in the house began to come to life in the morning. The children had breakfast peacefully, getting ready and heading off to school, filling the air with energy and bustle. After their departure, Anatoly focused his attention on little Tatiana. Activities at home, fun games, and reading books made up their morning ritual. Then he headed to his restaurant to catch up on current affairs, like usual. There, he spent time with the customers, putting his soul into every conversation, and trained his staff to improve the restaurant every day. And indeed, each new day brought more popularity and recognition to his establishment. Upon returning from the restaurant, Anatoly happily met with the children who had come back from school. Cheerful conversations at dinner, where everyone could share their impressions of the day, filled the home with joy and warmth. In this communication, in the smiles of his adopted children, he found true happiness, forgetting all the difficulties and hardships he had faced before. His life was filled with such days, full of care and love for his new family. When Daria almost burned because her grill caught fire, Oleg heroically saved her. But this did not help strengthen their relationship. On the contrary, frightened by the fire, Daria was at her breaking point, and her reaction to being rescued by Oleg was unexpected. Instead of gratitude, she poured out her emotions in the form of irritation and criticism. Oleg, not expecting such a reaction, felt awkward and undervalued, but decided not to escalate the situation and tried to calm Dasha. Oleg found himself in a difficult emotional maze, trying to sort out his feelings for Dasha and Yosa. On one hand, he loved Dasha very much and dreamed of rekindling their relationship. But on the other hand, he felt confused and anxious about his feelings for Yosa. Oleg felt that he was faced with a choice that could determine his future. He did not know how to make the right decision without hurting or deceiving anyone. Oleg felt an inner conflict when Yosha came to spend the weekend with him. Even though it was good with her, his thoughts still revolved around Daria. He tried to act naturally and not show his inner turmoil, especially in the presence of his son. The plans for a walk in the park seemed promising, but a sudden call from Daria changed their plans. Daria invited her son over to her place, but Oleg, saying they needed to discuss their son's studies, joined the visit, telling Yosa that he had urgent matters to attend to. Oleg's internal conflict remained invisible to Jose, but he decided that a visit to Daria might bring some resolution or at least clarify his thoughts. While they sat at the table talking studies, their son's issues, a sense of calm and tranquility filled the yard. Dima, meanwhile, was trying to come up with a topic for conversation to break the ice among his parents. As the Saturday came to an end, Oleg could not let go of his thoughts. In his mind, vague images of Daria and Yossi floated, each bringing him mixed feelings. He dreamed of the possibility of returning to Daria and recreating what they had. But at the same time, he saw potential in his relationship with Yossi. Oleg's heart was truly and deeply torn between the past and the future, and he understood that he had to make a decision in order to move forward. Anatoly's children demanded a lot of his attention, especially at night. So many things still seemed scary to them, especially when monsters might be hiding under the beds. At night, they often wake Anatoly, begging him to drive away the horrors and provide them with protection. Even after Anatoly calms them down and assures them that there are no monsters in the room, the children stay for a while to sit with him, feeling more protected by his side. On Sundays after breakfast, Anatoly often took the children to the pool. He believed that sports were beneficial for their health, and he had the time, money, and desire to provide them with everything they needed. The children really enjoyed the time spent in the pool. They happily jumped off the diving board into the water, while Anatoly sat next to little Tanya, watching them. Sometimes Anatoly made new acquaintances and interacted with other visitors at the pool. From time to time, he even argued or had fun while waiting for the children. With the arrival of the children in his life, it seemed that everything had improved and he had no time for sadness. He completely dedicated himself to their upbringing. After several hours in the pool, they returned home and each of them got busy with their own activities. But Vadim had always dreamed of earning money and thought for a long time about how to make his dream come true. Finally, he decided to go to the park without permission. In the park, Vadim took out the violin and started playing, even though he had never done it before, and his performance left much to be desired. However, passers-by were throwing him money, but one of Anatoly's acquaintances saw the boy and called him. Anatoly, filled with rage, came to scold Vadim. He was firm in his words. Vadim should not beg on the street through music. He suggested sending the boy to music school if he wants to play the violin, but street performances were prohibited. Vadim did not like this decision and he tried to defend his point of view, but he could not succeed. Together with Anatoly, they went home and Vadim had to make this decision. At home, Anatoly put Vadim in the corner as a punishment for the boy running away from home and begging on the street. But after the punishment, Anatoly sat down with the boy and enrolled him in a drama club since the boy enjoys creativity. Vadim was happy and enthusiastically went to practice getting into character in front of the mirror. Oleg's son and Anatoly's adopted son remained friends despite Matvey's move. Matvey kept coming to visit and they played together. Oleg was overwhelmed by mixed feelings when both Yossi and Daria visited him at the same time. He felt as if he had frozen in place from the awkwardness of the situation. Two women who played an important role in his life suddenly appeared beside him. It was the moment when it seemed that it was time to make a final decision. But Oleg could not gather his courage and just made an excuse to Yossi, saying that he was tired after work and needed to rest. When Yossi left, Oleg spent the evening with Daria and his son, but at the end of the meeting, he felt terrible. The realization that the situation had indeed gone unacceptably far made him feel desperate. He understood that this could not go on any longer. Questions were swirling in his head that had no answers. Locked in the bathroom, he cried, feeling completely and utterly hopeless. He understood that he could no longer endure this uncertain state. Oleg needed to make a decision, or he risked losing himself. This is where the series comes to an end. Next, if you wish, you can take part in Oleg's fate. Give a like, subscribe to the channel.